Hi, I am your host, Karen Miranda. Welcome to Whispers from the Other Side. We are coming to you live from Q8 TV Channel 8. The lines are now open, so feel free to call. And I just, want to get going with you a couple of minutes about names that have, sometimes people ask me about names from their deceased loved ones. Sometimes I'll get names from people that have crossed over, and sometimes I won't get names from people that have crossed over. It just depends on what kind of information the other side is giving me, coming from your loved ones or spirits, because sometimes it can be like so much information that they get going with their memories and their things that they did with you, with everybody at home. It just depends on what they want to give me for information, which is kind of a fun thing I want to share with everybody at home. A couple of weeks ago, I went to the Thai mill at Quincy and did some investigating and did some readings in the old mill and everything like that. And the man that was doing the tour with me when he was doing the interviewing, Doug, is going to come on the Halloween special on the 29th. And we're going to have a special from that. When I was there, we're going to be putting that on the air too. And the nice thing was when Doug and I were going over things, he kept asking about names, and I'm like, I couldn't get any. Something just was totally blocking it. And I did get some names of the people that were in the mill, and he could understand both the names, but at the very end, all of a sudden when he said Francis, and I said, but there's another Francis. There was another Francis connection with the mill. And I didn't know who it was that, was coming through with the Francis. So I said, okay. And he was like, want to call the cemetery after we're done? I know where the first Francis is buried. I said, okay. We didn't film that or anything, but it's the big cemetery up in Quincy near the police station, the big one. And what was amazing was when we drove in, I'm like, okay, because usually some strange, odd things go on in the cemetery. I usually lock myself and I'm not open when I go in there. And we were going in the back part of the cemetery. So when we were going in the back part, further down on the left-hand side, he said, we got out of the car, I knew where they were, out of his truck, and I'm like, he said, Karen, I got to show you something. He couldn't believe it. And there were these two tombstones from the 1800s. He said, remember what you said, Francis? I go, yeah, but there was another tombstone right next to that one. And I couldn't, he said, look at that. He was surprised, because I thought the Historical Society had all the information for people, that have had the mill throughout the years. I don't know if they do or not, but you could really very vaguely see it. And it was Francis. And the name Francis was almost worn out. And Doug even looked, he said, I can't believe it. There was the first Francis, and then there was the second Francis. Okay. Hi, Kay. Welcome to Whispers from the Other Side.
Hey, Karen. How was your summer?
Good. How was your summer?
Pretty quiet. Pretty good, thank you.
That's good. Are you all regrouped from the summer now that it's all over with and everything?
Yes, I'm glad it's over. I like the fall.
Oh, that's wonderful. And thank you for calling. You sound really like you're well rested, actually.
Yes, I am.
Could you just speak up just a little louder, Kay?
Sure. Is that better?
Just a little more?
I think that's the best I can do.
Okay. No, that's better. That's really good. I can hear you really well now.
Thank you.
I know you've been to me before.
Yep.
And I'm going to just ask and see who's all around you tonight. Okay?
Yes.
And I'm getting your grandmother's all around you tonight in spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, coming in very bubbly with a lot of good energy back to herself again.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how she was when she was in love, to be around people.
Right.
She said, I'm still a people person over here.
Mm-hmm.
And she's telling me she's not listening to everybody as much.
Okay.
Do you understand that coming from her?
Yes.
She said, I'm learning not to listen so much, and I'm learning not to help everybody as much either.
Okay.
And you would understand that. And there's a couple of men that are with her, but I'm giving your grandmother a couple of minutes to have a chance to speak. And she liked everything to show. And at one time, haircut close to the head?
It's always about 1.5 inches.
Yeah, because I'm feeling like at one time, but, it was a little longer, and stuff like that. But she had to have it just so.
Oh, yeah.
She told me she was a neat freak, actually. That's
Oh,
what
yes.
And I'm glad you can understand that. But at one time, checking when she was younger about it being cut close, okay?
Okay.
I have to give you that as well, coming from her. But she's happy because she's saying, I'm happy to be out because this is one of her favorite times of the year with fall coming in, and you would understand that.
Yep.
And she loves the fall, and she's saying she's baking again over there, too.
Oh, good.
Do you understand that?
Yes.
She's making me hungry because I'm seeing apple pies with her, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I'm so glad, and I'm thanking her for that piece of evidence with, of course, the clencher and all that stuff. So I'm thanking her for that as well. And she's saying, I'm just glad I can do it again, though.
Yes.
And you would understand that because she said, I just couldn't do anything anymore.
Right.
And it used to get her very agitated.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because she was a very independent lady.
Yes.
And didn't like anybody fussing over her. She's telling me that.
No, she didn't.
And I'm glad you can understand that as well. But she's learning not to listen to everybody, she's telling me.
Good for her.
And I know that would make a lot of sense to you, too.
Yes, it does.
And she's saying, going again, thank you for helping as much as you could. Oh, your mom helped your grandmother out? Somebody helped her out?
Yes.
And you can understand that?
Mm-hmm.
And she's saying to say thank you.
It was my pleasure.
And Kay is telling me, she's telling me, Kay, that she said, I didn't mean to be so fussy about things, but I used to always just like to have my independence.
Right.
And I'm glad you can understand that. She's sitting back reading a good book tonight.
Well, that's good, yep.
And she loved to do that when she was here.
Yes, she did.
And she's saying, I'm glad, she said, I like the physical thing, you know what I'm saying? She like, more like having the book in her hand.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And I'm glad you can understand that because she said, I wouldn't like the way they're doing things today.
Oh, no.
Because your grandmother was very set in her ways.
Yes.
And I'm getting a gentleman that's starting to come in with her actually for you tonight as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting some height with this gentleman, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm feeling just a little bit of receding in the hair as he, just a little bit. And I'm getting the hair slicked back with him.
Okay.
Can you understand this a little bit? Huh?
She has quite a few brothers.
Okay, because I'm feeling that with him, like, he had a good head of hair, but it thinned out.
Dark hair?
Don't tell him, you know not to give me any, see, she knows not to give me any information, right?
I know, I'm just trying to help you.
No, I'm getting, he had a good head of hair on him,
Mm-hmm.
but as he aged, he lost a little bit of it.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Good, because he's happy to have it back.
Okay.
And that would make sense, because he loved his head of hair.
Okay.
When they come in like this, I just have to, you know how they communicate with me and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he's showing me. And I am getting darker brown hair with him.
Okay, I know who it is.
You know who it is?
Yep.
But he said, I'm still that sharp-looking, good-looking guy I was, when I was here. And you can understand that coming from him as well?
Yes. Yes.
He's quite the storyteller.
Yep.
And he's saying, well, you don't have to be that way with me. I said, yes, I do, because people do watch the show. But you would understand his personality coming in that way with him.
Yes, absolutely.
Being very colorful with the words.
Yes.
And your grandmother's just going like this,
Mm-hmm.
And you would understand that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you were wondering about him, because he's saying, I'm around her too. Let me come in and let me start speaking, because usually I have to sit back and wait my turn. And you can understand that as well?
Absolutely.
I'm so glad you can, because I like to tell a good story, and he's being colorful with the words with me.
Oh, he's very funny.
But you would understand that?
Oh, yes.
So he's like, I'm trying to be polite, so I'm like, I really can't say those things. But
No, you can't.
But you know exactly what he's saying.
Yeah, I do.
And he's so funny, because he's like, everybody's listening tonight over here. I'm not giving them a choice. Whereas sometimes when he would get talking, when he was here, people would kind of like leave the room a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm glad you can understand, because they would leave the room one by one, because he would be a little long-winded, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad you can understand. He's enjoying a good beer tonight.
Okay.
And that would make sense, too.
Mm-hmm.
And he's funny. He's going, and I do like to play cards a little bit, too.
Yep.
And he's out playing cards tonight.
Good.
But he's not worried about getting caught.
No. No. Nobody to catch him. Nope.
Oh, yeah, and I'm glad you can understand that, and I'm thanking him for that, too. And he said, and I have all my bad habits.
Good.
And that would make a lot of sense, too. Did somebody smoke over there, too?
A lot of them did and then gave it up, you know.
Oh, yeah, because I'm seeing the smoke, so he's not coming in very clear, but he's just saying I'm enjoying a good bud over here.
Okay, I know. Yeah, okay.
Okay, and I'm glad you can understand. I'm glad different people are coming in for you. And he's funny. Yep. And he said, and I don't have to mark my cards over here.
What a freshie.
Can you understand that?
Yep.
Yep. And he's funny. He said, and it's good too. I don't have to worry about getting in trouble.
No.
And you would understand that too.
Yes.
One time he kind of had to get bailed out a little bit. He's telling me.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Oh, that is so funny. He says, yeah. He said, yeah, the food wasn't very good either, by the way. And that would make a lot of sense to you coming from this man. He's a wealth of information, I'm telling you.
Yep.
But he's all around you too.
Well, that's nice.
And your grandmother's telling me, I'm saying, what do you want? What's the message? She goes and tell her to go out and enjoy a good apple pie.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
that would make a lot of sense.
Mhm.
And she's got the apple pie and she's serving the ladies over there.
Yeah.
You know exactly what she's talking. And she's got the little tea sets and everything.
Yep.
And they all match and all that stuff.
Yep.
And somebody still has those here.
Yeah.
She's saying thank you for keeping them nice and everything too.
Mhm.
And she's saying I'm serving the ladies over here, but she said I'm so glad I don't have to worry about cleaning up after everybody.
Yep.
And that would make a lot of sense too.
Yes.
And she's saying thank you for praying for us.
Oh, I do.
And they are listening in and you're opening up more, she's telling me.
Yes.
And I have to leave you with that.
Okay.
Okay?
Thanks so much, Karen.
Thank you for sharing, everybody. And I'm
welcome.
glad you called back. That's so good.
I'm so glad I did too. You have a wonderful evening.
You do too. And he's funny. The man's funny. I said, but he's got to go home with you if that's okay.
Yeah, oh, no. Oh, gosh. No, he has to stay up there.
Okay, I'm so glad. And thank you, Kay. And have a great night.
You too. Thank you, Karen.
Enjoy a good piece of pie with Thanksgiving coming up. It's not that far away.
I will indeed.
Okay.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. He's being quite the hot ticket. They're so funny, and these are their memories they'll share with me. And one thing I have learned, especially over the summer, was very adventurous with them. I've been learning to pay attention when they come in, because it takes so much for them to come in, even to show stuff they own. They're so, funny that way, because I'm like, okay, well, I'll pay attention to that. Because I draw. When I draw stuff, I'll just sketch it out. It's called automatic drawing, by the way. My hand just starts going, and I don't know what way the hand's going. Hi, Carol. Welcome to Whispers from the Other Side.
Hi.
Hi, how are you tonight?
Good. You?
Good, good. You're getting all relaxed and, just enjoying the nice cool weather and all that good stuff. Have you ever been to a medium before?
Yes.
Yes. Do I have to get going with you to how I communicate with spirit and all that, or do you just want me to get going with your reading?
Okay.
Okay. Yes, if you understand, no, if you don't, okay?
Okay.
And I don't do medical diagnosis or anything like that, okay?
Right.
That's your doctor, not me, okay? I do have a mail that's coming in around you tonight.
Okay.
And I feel like, I'm very close, that eternal love with this man with you.
Okay.
Okay, because I'm feeling, a father figure.
Yes.
Your father's over in spirit?
Yes.
Okay, your dad's coming in with a whole lot of abundance of love to you.
Oh, okay.
If that's making sense to you at all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and he said, I was the average guy, but he said, I worked very hard. You would understand that.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he kept the family together the best he could.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm feeling just a little bit of weight on him, not a lot.
Right.
Okay, I'm glad that's making sense to you too, because he's starting to step closer to me now, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying, when I crossed over, it was like a surprise to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was like here and then he was gone.
Right.
It was very quick with this crossing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad you can understand that. He's telling me you miss having him around.
Mm-hmm.
And because you used to go to him like all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying, even though I'm not physically there, which you do know because you are open, he's there spiritually all around you.
Right.
And he said, it just like everything just shut down and boom, when he went over.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Because he said what the crossing was very quick when he
Right.
did go. I'm glad you can understand that as well. I'm thinking, what else do you want me to say? He said, but I was the average dad. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And he said he cared about all you kids, and he tried to give everybody equal time when he could.
Right.
And you would understand that too as well, coming from him.
Mhm.
And he's saying, he's happy to be puttering around again.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
Mhm.
He liked to putter. He didn't always get things done though too. Would you understand that as well?
Mhm.
But he liked to do that. That was his like my relaxation time. And
Okay.
I'm getting when he was younger, okay, because like I said, these are their memories they'll share with me. He had
Mhm.
some athletic ability to him, he's telling me.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
I'm so glad because he's back doing all the athletic stuff again.
Oh, okay.
And that's just how he's coming and enjoying his sports too, by the way.
Mhm.
And that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And he's saying, it was really hard because when I did cross, it was like you wished you could have said goodbye. I had one last chance to talk to him. You can understand that?
Mhm.
And that's just his way of validating to me, like, he's looking down from the other side saying that. I see that. And he's saying, it's okay if you didn't say goodbye.
Mhm.
And that would make a lot of sense. You needed to hear that, though, he's telling me.
Mhm.
Okay, and he said, I'm listening in, from the other side. He said, I'm glad I don't have the new phones. He said he's got the old phone in his hand. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I wish I had the old kind of phone.
I know, the old style ones I know. It's like I still have my old 90s phone. My kids say, when are you going to get rid of that? I said, but I
Right.
like it because I can touch and go like this, But that's what your dad is saying to me. He's saying, he's saying that. And he's saying hello from heaven to you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Can you understand? He's telling me to tell you that.
Okay.
Okay, he's saying hello from heaven to you. And he's saying he's with his father over there.
Exactly.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, because the two of them are coming in together.
Okay.
And I gotta give you this anyways. I'm feeling a Michael or Mike or something.
Really?
Do you understand how somebody with the M sound?
I'll have to think about that one.
Okay, just think about the Michael. I'm getting that with a name, and I just have to give that to you anyways. It could be for someone you know, okay?
Okay.
Because there's a Michael stepping forward, and I gotta ask you to wait because your dad is still like, saying he's
Yeah.
just happy to be able to relax.
Right.
And that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And he's saying, and I'm also glad I have my old card back. You would understand about the boat?
Yeah.
And I'm glad I got my boat back, he's telling me to tell you.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about, the long, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
The more older style cars.
Right.
And he's telling me to tell you, you need to get out more.
I know.
Does that make sense to you?
Uh-huh.
Okay, saying, tell my girl. And he's saying it that way to you. Okay, which would make a lot of sense. Tell my girl to go out and, go out and stop helping everybody else. Because you're always giving like he did.
Exactly.
And I'm glad you can understand that, Carol, as well. And he's saying, tell her to take time for her. And that's your dad's message from you, by the way.
Mhm.
And your grandfather's saying he's out, enjoying being back outdoors again.
Oh yeah.
Because he loved outdoors. He loved being outside.
Oh yeah.
And he's outdoors again. And he's so glad to be outdoors again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he liked to, he's, planting stuff. Would that make sense to you?
Yes.
Because, and he grew things really nicely, by the way, too.
Mhm.
He had a good green thumb, he's telling me.
Mhm.
And I'm glad you can understand that coming from your grandfather. But your grandfather's just saying hello from heaven to you.
Okay.
Okay, and I have to give that, the two of them are together, the two men are together.
Right.
And your dad's with his dad. And
Okay.
your dad learned all the good values from his father. That's what he's telling me.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you can understand that as well, coming from him.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's you. The message there to you is hello from heaven and hello from the other side.
Okay.
And he's saluting you too, by the way.
Yes.
And you would understand that.
Yeah.
Military.
That's the quencher.
Thank you. See, you know. See, that's good. Yep. And I see the flag and all that. And that's why, even if, I pay attention to that stuff because this is your reading. You know what I'm saying? And he's saluting you and he's happy that you have the flag, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay. And that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And he's saying, you stand tall, you stand proud, and not be listening to everybody all around you. You don't need that anymore.
Yes.
And now you know exactly what he's talking about.
Yes.
And he said, I'm glad I'm back to that good-looking guy I was when I was younger.
Yeah.
And that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I want you to have a great night. And he's also telling me to go for you to go out for a good Sunday drive like he used to do.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? The car is a riot, by the way, because he's making me laugh with the old car.
Yeah.
And he says, the junk boxes they have today. He's like, even though it was a boat, he said he felt, very safe in that. And you would know exactly what he's talking about.
I do.
And I'm so glad. And his message for you is, he says, you tell her not to be listening to everybody else, and you're supposed to go on a little mini vacation, he's telling me. You've been thinking about it a little bit. Going away for like a weekend or something. He's telling me to tell you he's going to be with you.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Have a great night.
You too.
Yeah, they're funny. I do have a Michael around me. Don't mind me, the string came undone, I know. But I have a Michael around me that's been around me from the other side. He's coming in, he's saying how to say hello. Again, he passed away when he was 30 years old. And I said, okay, well, if you could back off, that would be wonderful. So I can wait. Maybe you'll come when somebody else calls. They'll be able to understand who Michael is, that's in spirit, which is the name thing again. They are funny about the names because sometimes, like, when they come in and there's, like, a lot of people around, that's why sometimes you'll hear me say, okay, you got to back off. You got to wait your turn. And so that's when and if the person can understand the name, fine. If they can't, but when I was getting back to the cemetery to bring that, it was really, really cool. And when we went to the cemetery and the Francis, like I said, it was all one off, but you could make it out, which was really nice. And I said, you know what? I always say this at home, and my older daughter will tell you, Ma, you always say you're not going to question anymore. And I do have a bad habit of doing that with them. And I'm like, oh, please leave me alone, And I say, can I be like a regular person once in a while? And it's so funny. And she gets laughing at me. She says, Ma, they're not going to leave you alone. And so I said, okay, you're not going to leave me alone. But let me, when I'm doing a reading, just wait till I'm doing a reading. And if you're for someone, let me know. And I do want to talk a little bit about the art. And it's funny about, like, when I draw stuff, too. Like, they'll get me drawing stuff, and I'm like, I don't know. I just said, okay, I'm going to sketch this out. And pretty much, usually the person that's getting the reading can understand who the drawing is for. So I said, okay. And it takes, the shading and stuff. I'm not going to get into all that. But, and even, like, when I did a drawing, when I did a face, actually, it was the man from the mill. And that's going to be a special show we're going to have on the 29th. Doug is going to come on, and I'm really excited because it's going to be a really fun show. And we have some clippings that will, for a whole half-hour show of the mill. So that'll be a lot of fun. And you'll see, us talking and, going in certain parts of the mill, which I'm really looking forward to that. And when that comes on, and when he comes on, it'll be wonderful because, we'll talk about, the things that went on in the mill when we were there, which is really, exciting, and I'm looking forward to that. And the other thing, too, is, that's why I even like for drawing. I'll say I'll drawing, and I'll just leave it alone. But usually the other side, they're really good about, like, letting me know who it's for. So I said, okay. And I'll wait, before I get the drawing out, and then I'll say, okay, I'm going to leave this put away. And so when it's put away, and then all of a sudden I'll say, oh, I got to get the drawing out and bring it with me, and I want to thank Spirit, And when they're doing a reading of something, somebody at home might say, oh, that's, might sound like it's general knowledge to you or whatever, and I'm not a tarot reader, but could be the biggest validation of somebody getting the reading. You know, it could be a word. It could be something that a deceased loved one used to say, you know, and they'll say, I don't understand, you know, but but the person that's getting the reading will understand the information that is coming through, you know, and it's your messages from your loved ones that are coming. When they share the memories, they love to do that because it's the things that they remember that do carry over to the other side, you know, and when they did that, which is wonderful, you know, and then they also, you know, people have asked, what's it like over there? You know, and I said, well, it's beautiful over there, you know, but I only tell them to show me what they want to show me. Sometimes it can be too much information, so I'll tell them, you know, I want to experience some things when I go, but when it is my time to go over there. And somebody said to me, Karen, I got to ask you something. I said, what? What about life experiences when you cross over? Do those carry over to the other side? Or do they just get let go? But from what is Spirit has been working with me for a long time, so you do carry them over because, you know, to the other side, and lessons that we'll learn. You do learn and grow when you're over there too. And so that's when I have learned not to question, you know, who's coming through in spirit, what they're giving me for information. And you do learn. You learn and grow over there. And the thing that I have found with the learning and growing when you cross over is it's a procedure or progress or whatever, you know, everybody likes to interpret things differently, you know, too, and you're learning over there too, because if you died from like a sudden death or something, you are in shock, just like in the movie Ghost. I know I've mentioned that before, but you're like, you know, but you do take, you know, a little time, and, you know, that's when I have seen it so many times, and I've had so many people tell me, I felt like somebody was talking to someone in the room when they were here. And I said, was it somebody that died? And they said, yes. And it is somebody that crossed over to the other side that's waiting for them to, you know, physically leave their physical body when they cross. And I said, oh, that's really awesome, you know, because it's nice to know that people are there that have gone on before us, that have crossed over, you know, that are waiting. Like one time, an English medium came over from England, actually. John Carroll, he's awesome. And I had the pleasure to have a couple of workshops with him. I think it was one, actually, but I've used to go to, you know, watch him before he stopped coming over to the States. And I said to him, I said, I have a question to ask you, because you got, you know, spirit children that come in sometimes, and the teenagers. And I said to him, you know, I know, you know, that when you're getting ready to cross over, people have talked about different loved ones that are in the room and everything, but what if a spirit child or a teenager isn't with anybody? He said, ask the person that died who they're with on the other side. So I said, okay, I'll ask, you know. So now I was happy he told me about that, because I was like, okay, you know, who are you with, and make sure you're not alone. And they, you know, usually with an older spirit child or with an adult, which is nice to know that then the children are not alone when they cross over. And teenagers too. And even our older loved ones are with people that have crossed over, and, you know, they're there to help them. So that's really nice to know, you know, that there is someone there. And one time I can remember, you know, somebody telling me once in the family, you know, when your grandmother was, you know, not so alert before she died. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she said, well, she was confused. I go, how was she confused? She said she was mentioning all the people that passed away before she was getting ready to cross over. And this was like really like early in the early 70s. And she didn't, trust me, you didn't talk about such things back then. So I said, oh, really? And I said, Auntie, who's now in light actually too, and I said, well, who? She goes, well, when your grandmother was, getting ready to cross over to the other side, and we were all saying the prayers, the priest came in, different things. She started talking about different people that had crossed on before, like Aunt Tess and Aunt Brad and all these other, I didn't even know them. These people were like even way before, a whole different generation. And I said, oh, really? And she goes, yeah. She goes, she was talking about, all these people that had died before her. And we were just looking at her like she was this old lady that, she only died when 70. And 70 is the younger part of when you're older, because people are living so much longer today. And I said, oh. And I said, yeah, like the different deceased people. And she said when she saw somebody, I guess she just went off and was asleep because she had heart failure when she had passed away. And I said, oh, that's really interesting, when she was telling me, because I was just like, oh, that's good to know that we're not alone when we cross over. And one time I can remember my father-in-law, who I do miss him, and stuff like that, my husband's father, who was in spirit. And he had all 7 stages of Alzheimer's. So when I went in to see him, the day we went, when he was in the hospital, everybody was in there. And of course, one by one, everybody started leaving the room and everything like that. So, and my nephew, who was in spirit now with my father-in-law, I had, he left the room too, and he couldn't talk or communicate or anything. And so I was there, and I said to Papa, he was blinking his eyes, and I said, if you're there, and you're, I know you're not in your physical body, but you're in your spiritual body, blink once for years. And he blinked once, and then all of a sudden I said, well, blink twice if you can hear me, if it's no. And he blinked twice, so I asked him a very private question and everything. And I said, is so-and-so going to make, is someone not going to make it when you cross over? Yes or no? So he blinked twice, so I paid attention, because I could feel, some presence in the room, and I felt like, we weren't alone. And I was telling him, it's okay to cross over. It's okay to go over. Meet Rose, and that's his wife that was in spirit. Meet your wife. Meet the other people that have crossed over before you, and go and meet Johnny as well. They're there waiting for you. When when you feel like you can cross over, it's okay to cross over. And when I was talking to him and he said that to me, I was like sitting there going, okay. Now, he was blinking his eyes, and I remember the yes or no questions that I had asked him. And the next day around 5:30 in the morning, my brother-in-law called, and the phone rang, and I said, I knew Papa had passed away, but he didn't want to tell me on the phone, which was nice and respectful that way. And he said, is Chucky there? And of course, my husband gets up at 4:20. He gets up really, really early to go to work. And when I said that to him, I go, okay. And, he's going to call the shop and whatever. So he called the shop, and he got a hold of Chuck, which I was very happy about, because Chuck wasn't that far from the hospital and everything. So we got over to the hospital. And I, said to Chuck, when he'll be there shortly. So when Chuck came home from work, I said, of course he was sad and everything, because that was his dad, they were close. And he gave me a big hug, and I gave him a big hug back. And I said, I have a question to ask you. And he said, what, Karen? Did somebody not make it when you came, when you went all were there to see Papa? And he said, we were all there, but one person came in late. It was my brother-in-law. He said, Karen, he just missed it by like 2 minutes not being there. And I was like, then I knew Papa was listening, even though he wasn't in that physical body anymore. He was in that spiritual body. So I looked up and I said a prayer for him, and I thanked him for letting me know in some way, shape, or form he was still communicating with me, because that following Tuesday I had a class, and I had went to church, and I said to the Reverend, I go, I have something to ask you. And she goes, what? I explained her the whole situation of what happened with my father-in-law, and she said to me, "What, about your father-in-law?" And I said, "Yeah, he wasn't in his, I felt like he was listening, but he was communicating with me with his eyes." He said, "Karen, you know that he was communicating with you that way, and he wasn't in his physical body because it was in his spiritual body." And I said, "Oh, okay." And I thanked Papa later on that night and said some prayers for him. And it made me realize, too, it's okay if you don't make it to see your loved one when they cross over. Sometimes it's just, it was his time, and it was okay. Because I know Jimmy probably felt bad about not being there, when everybody else was there. But that was okay. Because, that love, like I say, that eternal love, it doesn't die. It's just, not the end. And our loved ones are guiding and watching us from above, which is wonderful to know. And I really did thank Papa for that, and made me realize he was communicating with me. It just wasn't in the way that I was used to him communicating with me from the other side, which I did thank him. Okay. Hi, friend. Welcome to Whispers from the Other Side.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. Can you speak up just a little louder?
Sure.
Oh, that's a lot better. I know you're very open. We're friends, by the way. And, no, because you know how when you're not in your physical body before you cross over and everything?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I said that's why, it's kind of good for people to know the goodbyes that weren't said and everything. And I am going to get going with you, if that's okay, Fran?
Yes.
Which is really, thank you for calling and everything. And I do have a man that's coming through for you. You have a couple of gentlemen over there, but I'm feeling an older gentleman. Okay?
Yes.
And I'm feeling he had some dark hair to him, so like the dark brown hair.
Okay.
And I'm feeling a little bit of receding with his hair.
Yes.
His hair was receding, and hair cut very close to the head.
Yep.
And I'm getting darker brown eyes with him.
Yep.
And I'm skinny. He was skinny, though. Like, I'm feeling he wasn't heavy.
Yeah.
Kind of like, skinny.
Mhm.
And he's telling me he wasn't always so very nice. Can you understand that?
I could, yes.
Yeah, was but wasn't. You know what I'm talking about. But I'm feeling like this isn't your father. This is another man that's around you.
Really? Not my father?
Not your father, no. It's another man.
Okay.
Do you understand?
I'm trying to think of who it might be.
Okay, yeah, because I'm feeling this man was over there a couple of years, but he hasn't been over there a long, long time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay. And he's just saying, he's learning his life lessons, if you can understand that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you can. And I'm not going to get going with him too much, but the person that is here misses him.
The person what?
The person that is here, that's on the earth plane,
Yes.
still misses having him around.
Oh, okay.
And I have to give that to you. Does this man make sense to you?
A little, but I'm not sure exactly who he is.
I'm not getting, he wasn't heavy.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting like tall with him either. I'm getting like an average height.
Yeah.
Because he was like this and she was like this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's how he's coming in that way with me, with the height and everything. And he's saying, she still misses having me around.
I miss having him around?
Huh?
I miss having him around?
No. I'm feeling like this is someone in your family.
Oh, okay.
Do you understand?
Yes, now I think I know.
Okay,
I know who it is now.
You have a bunch of men around you. You really do. And
I know who it is now.
And I'm so glad. But I'm going to give you a name. Can you understand a Michael that's over there? Because there's been a Michael hanging around me all night.
I really don't.
No, okay, whether it's in the first name or the second name. I don't know if it could be for someone in the crew or not, but I'm going to ask Michael to wait. But I'm glad you can understand this gentleman it's coming in this way.
Yeah, I know who he is now. Does he have a message?
Huh?
Does he have a message? I know who he
Is
is.
it a message? He's telling me to tell her not to be so sad.
Okay.
And that would make a lot of sense.
Yep.
And it's chaosy a little bit at home, too.
Yes.
Very chaosy and very, And he said I wasn't always nice. You know what I'm
True.
saying? But, he is looking down from over there.
Oh, good.
And Ann's all around you, too.
Oh.
I'm getting Ann.
Oh, wow. That's
And she's-
interesting.
You can understand who that is?
Yes, I can.
And I'm seeing, would you understand a stuffed bear?
A stuffed bear?
A stuffed teddy bear?
Yes.
Because she's got a teddy bear.
Yeah, she liked teddy bears.
Oh, and I'm thanking her from over there, from the other side. She's got the stuffed bear, too. Before she got sick, she was very smart, she's telling me.
Yes.
Very intelligent, actually.
Extremely.
Oh, and something just snapped. Can you understand that?
Yes, I know Yes, I know all
And if
about
they're
that.
getting too personal, just let me know, okay?
Yeah, no, I know exactly who she is.
Okay, the man that was here earlier is saying to tell my wife not to be so sad.
Okay, I know who he is,
It's
too.
kind of like that because it's like you have a couple of men that are over there. Your father is all around you, but he's not the one coming in, strong.
Okay.
Because your mother is saying, tell Frances that I'm not crying anymore.
Oh.
And that would make sense. She's happy.
Oh, okay.
And they're not, but before it was tough for her, your mom.
Yeah.
And she's saying it wasn't always easy for me. And she kind of cried, but it was kind of private because she was a very private lady.
Yeah.
And do you understand, does somebody still have a set of her rosary beads here?
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay, I'm thanking her for that, by the way. Thank you. And she's saying, thank you for praying for me. And Ann's with her for some reason. You know how they all catch up with each other over there? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And Ann's with her, and Ann just said, I'm fine now. I'm back to myself before I got sick.
Oh, I'm so happy about that.
Yeah, and she's saying the family tried everything to help her out.
Yep.
And I'm glad everything.
Yes.
They went above and beyond the call of duty.
Oh, that's nice to know.
And she's saying at one time, her and her brother were very close.
Yes.
And very, very close. And it was devastating for her brother when she got this way.
Yes.
And I'm glad you can understand that coming from her. And she's saying to say that, Ann is fine. Ann is fine.
Good.
I'm whole
tell
again. She said just all the pressure just got to her, and that would make sense.
Yep.
And she said to me she had depression too at one time a little bit, but it wasn't diagnosed back then.
Really?
Not she was a little depressed. I have to give that to you. If you don't understand that, I have to give that to you.
Yeah.
Just before she, lost it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because she's getting kind of personal with me a little bit here. And
Yeah.
I'm going, okay. But she's saying, she wants to extend her love to her brother.
Okay, I'll tell him.
And the other thing is, your mother's just telling me to tell you she's glad you have the rosary beads.
Yep.
And I'm very happy that you can understand that. They're kind of tucked away in a special spot.
Yes, they are.
And I'm glad you can understand that as well. You were kind of hoping to hear from your mother a little bit too, she's telling me.
Yep.
Yep, well, she's coming in and she's go out and enjoy some good pasta, she's telling me.
My favorite thing.
Yeah, and she used to love spaghetti too and all the Italian food, she's telling
Yep.
me. Can you understand that?
Yes,
Yeah, and she's telling me she was a good cook, by the way.
absolutely.
Yeah, and she's saying, and I see the meatballs and the spaghettis and all that good stuff, and she's making me hungry too, by the way.
Hmm.
And she's saying, I'm not helping anybody anymore.
Really?
Yeah, because she helped and she ran the house more or less when she was here
Yeah.
to keep the family together.
Yep.
And she's saying, and even when they tried to sneak in, I always caught someone. If that makes sense, I have to give that to you the way it's coming in.
When we would try to sneak in?
One of you used to get in trouble kind of like you were out late.
Yes, one sister was.
Oh,
Yeah.
she was a troublemaker, but in a good way.
Yep.
You know, and I'm glad you can understand that, and I'm thanking your mother for that piece of information too. And she's so funny that way, but she's going, I'm happy, and you needed to hear that.
Yes, I'm glad.
She's happy. I love her head of hair. You know what I'm saying? The poof and the, you know what I mean?
Yep.
The older style and everything.
Yep.
And she's saying, I'm learning. I don't, you know, her faith kept her strong. Her faith kept her through everything. And you would understand that as well.
Yes.
But she's saying to me to tell you not to, for you to give up on your dreams.
Okay.
And you needed to hear that.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Yep, don't, that's your message from your mother.
Okay.
Don't give up on your dreams.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah, it's, you know, it's when they come in, I'm saying, I'm just the in-between. It's like a three-way conversation sometimes between everybody on the other side, which, you know, I thank everybody too for you know, coming through like that, and everybody on this side of the veil for sharing your loved ones with me. And whom I get is who I get. What I see is what I see. Sometimes they will get very personal, and that's what I'll say, okay, I gotta wait and not, you know, give that piece of information out, because they can get very private and personal with me. Okay. Hi, Marie. Welcome to Whispers from the Other Side.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Very good.
Good. Have you ever been to a medium before?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Do you want me to explain to you how I communicate with people that have crossed over?
Well, I've kind of been watching you, so
Huh?
I've been watching your show.
Oh, thank you for watching, too. You sound like you have a lot of funness to yourself there.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yes, I'm getting a mom that's around you.
Wonderful.
Can you understand?
Yes.
And your mother's coming in very close to me right now with the, you know, she's all around you from the on the other side. Okay?
Okay.
And can you just speak up just a little louder?
Okay.
Oh, that's a lot better. Thank you, Marie. I appreciate that. Your mother's coming in with a lot of fun energy to herself. You know, when she was younger, you know, she was a go-getter. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yes. She worked
And
hard.
she was a very much go-getter and did everything. I'm seeing a little resemblance with you with her. Not a
Yep.
lot, but a little.
Yep.
Can you understand that?
Yes.
And I'm so glad you can understand that coming from your mother. She's telling me, Marie still wishes that you still wish your mom was here.
Yes.
Yeah, she said, you know, because she said you know, still wishes she was here. She said, you get sad sometimes, she's telling me, too. And
Yeah, I miss her.
you miss her very much, she's telling me.
Very much.
Very much so. And, you know, she's, you know, I'm seeing a heart, you know, because your mother's extending lots of abundance of love to you from the other side.
Thank you.
And you needed to hear that. And you helped her out in any way, shape, or form, she's telling me.
Yep.
You were there for her the whole 9 yards, too.
I was.
You know,
We all were.
And your mother's telling me to tell you you only had one mother and you would understand what she's talking about.
Oh, yes. She said
I
it
only
often.
had. Are you okay?
Yes.
Okay. She's saying that to me. She's telling me to tell you, I'm still her mom. But when she was here, she'd say, you only have one mother, and don't forget that. And you would understand exactly what she's saying.
I do.
I'm so glad, and I'm thanking her for that, too. And a nice, very nice lady your mother was, by the way.
She was.
Yeah. Who's Mary Marie over there?
Her name is Mary. My name is Marie.
But over on the other, her name was?
Yes.
Yep, and Mary. I'm thanking her for that, too. Thank you.
That's
you know,
her
because
name,
it's funny, because there's been a Michael around me, too, all night. If you know, you've
That's
been...
my son.
Huh?
That's her son and my son's name.
That's your father?
Yes.
Michael has been around you in a big, huge way, and I'm thanking you because he wouldn't leave me alone. So I'm so glad you called, Marie.
Oh, my.
Your dad
Thank you
is
so
with,
much.
yeah, your dad, and I'm thanking him. I'm thanking him. He's been around, and I kept saying on and off, there's a Michael around. I know you've been watching the show. There's a Michael around, and I don't know who he belongs to, but now your dad is with your mother.
I get it. Oh,
Okay?
yes, yes.
Yeah, he's with her, and he's so fun. You know, she's saying she's enjoying the music again. You know, she loved music. She loved to have fun. Your mother did.
Yes.
She loved to have her fun and everything. And she said, you know, what for that time frame, they made their own fun. You would know exactly what your mother's talking about.
I do.
And I'm so glad you do, because she said we made our own fun for that time. You know, for what it was like in that time, because it wasn't always easy in that generation. And you know exactly what your mother's talking about.
I do.
And she's telling me for you to go out and go on a good picnic before the weather gets really bad. And it's not, you would understand that too.
That was something she did often.
Yeah, go out and you're supposed to go out and have a good picnic.
Yep, we used to take long car rides with picnics.
Huh? Could you speak up a little?
We had picnics together. We used to take rides and have picnics.
Yeah, and but you know, Maria, your mom and dad are together on the other side, and they're looking down on you, in a good way.
Well, thank you.
And they're saying that you have a big heart yourself. They're going back to that.
Thank you.
And your mom is saying thank you through me for letting her pass. You know what I'm saying? And taking, and taking care of her for taking care of her for as long as she could, and you would understand that.
I did. Yes, thank you.
And your mother's out enjoying a good pastry, by the way. That would make a lot of sense.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? The Danish and all those kind of things. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
And she's saying, and go out and enjoy a good hot cup of coffee. And tea. And does that make sense about the coffee?
Yes.
I'm so glad she's telling go out, even if to go to Dunkin's, she's going to be with you, by the way.
Oh.
Yep. And you'll feel them spiritually. You know what I'm saying? That they'll be around. And she's funny. She's saying, when she goes to Dunkin's, I'll be with her.
Oh, I'm going in the morning.
And that would make a lot of sense to you about what she's saying and talking about.
Thank you, yes.
Thank you. And she said, you know, you kids, you know, she loved being around all you kids and everything. She's telling me that. Your mom is.
Yes, she enjoyed us.
Yeah, and I'm going to thank you for your dad. I'm like, your dad had a lot of patience when he was here. Can you understand that?
Yes, he was, yes.
Yes, I'm so glad you can, and I'm thanking him, because I was like, I don't know who you're for, Michael, but I'm so happy about that. And he's listening in from the other side, too.
Oh, yes, he is.
Okay? And they're thanking you for having prayers said for them. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
Yep, she said, and the prayers help them over there for learning and growing, too, by the way.
Oh, okay.
And she's saying
they've always taught me to pray.
They're both, yep. And she's saying, go out to the beach before it gets a little too cold. You know what I'm saying? You know what she's talking about. You know, and
we live near the beach.
Huh?
We live near the beach.
Oh, good. See, then I'm thanking you for the clancher. You know, but she's saying, yep, go out and enjoy a good walk, and they're going to be walking beside you. And you're going to feel like you're not alone, too, by the way. And collect some seashells like she used to.
Okay.
And that makes sense?
Yes, it does. I have her sand dollars in.
Oh, I'm so glad, and I want to thank you for sharing. And I'm so glad about Michael, because your dad's been trying to get through all night. So I thank you very much too, Marie. For, you know, they're both going to be with you to go out and enjoy a good walk on the shore when it's a nice, you know, this is a nice time of the year, you know, and a nicer, warmer like today. You know what they're talking about.
I do.
Okay, and I'm so glad they're going to be with you, by the way, and they want you to know that thank you for having the prayers said for them. You know what they're talking about?
Yes.
And I'm so glad. She said, thank you, thank you, thank you. And that's the message to you as well. Thank you, thank you.
I'm so grateful.
Oh, and they're saying with the message too as well, when you're along the shore and walking the beach, It's like the tide going in and out. Our love does not die. It's eternal for you.
Oh,
Like the ocean, okay, going in and out. And you would understand that coming from them.
I do. My life is,
Okay?
hectic.
Thank you for calling.
Karen, I'm so grateful you took my call. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for sharing your loved ones with me. Thank you. I'm thanking you. I feel honored that I could share your loved ones with you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I'll be watching.
Okay, thank you, and thank you for calling.
Oh, I appreciate your time.
Have a great night.
You too. Good night.
Thank you, Marie. That's wonderful, like the tide going in and out. The love is eternal. Love never dies. Over on the other side. Okay, and like I said earlier, if you have a loved one who went through all of the 7 stages of Alzheimer's, and I had to share that with you guys tonight, because even though my papa wasn't in his physical body, he's in a spiritual body, and he could communicate. And if a loved one is getting ready to cross over, and they say, okay, I don't know who I'm feeling or seeing or hearing even, and if they mention people, it's not them, it's just their love, they're getting ready to help them to cross over to make the transition from the physical world to the spiritual world. And our love never dies. Our loved ones are gone but not forgotten, and just a thought away. And please don't forget to send some good healing energy with all the stuff that's going on right now, say some good prayers for our men and women that are serving in the service and keeping the home front, keep trying to keep us as safe as they can. And have a safe and happy Columbus Day weekend. And please don't drink and drive. If you have a little one too many, please give your keys to a loved one. Wishing everybody love and light. And have a great night. And thank you for all the callers and everybody watching at home.